Hi, my name is Savannah Jensen, and I'm a Senior FinOps Success Manager on the Optics team here at AWS. And today I'm going to be teaching you how you can use cost categories to clean up your tag data. So I'm going to go ahead and pop into the console here for a moment and show you kind of how to do this and talk a little bit about when you might want to do this. So if you're an organization that's just starting their cost allocation tagging journey, or if you have a little bit of kind of messy tag data that you're trying to clean up and turn into something a little bit more usable, it's very common to be looking at those cost allocation tags in your billing tools and seeing a little bit of noise. There is a very simple way to kind of take all of that tag noise and map it into something that's a little bit cleaner, a little bit more user-friendly, and definitely a lot more human readable. And you can do that using cost categories, which is what I'm going to be demoing for you today. So I am in my billing and cost management console. I am a billing user with admin permissions. And the first thing I am going to do is navigate to this cost organization section here on my left-hand side and select cost categories. As you can see, I've got a couple in here already, but let's go ahead and create a new one to address this problem of noisy and messy tags. So we'll go ahead and create a cost category here. Let's say in this example, I am essentially trying to reconcile my production versus non-production workloads. I've coached my developers that if they have anything that's running in production or any production workload, they should be sure to add tags to every one of those production resources that say production on them, and then everything else we'll consider as non-prod. So I'll go ahead and give this cost category a name, and let's call it prod versus non-prod. So I've given them this coaching. They know that they need to be tagging all of kind of those production workloads. We love the enthusiasm, but let's say that they're maybe not as organized as I would love for them to be. And some of kind of the spelling that they have used for these production tags is a little bit different and sometimes a little bit creative. Let's go ahead and use our cost category rule selector here to coalesce all of that into something that is kind of consolidated and a little bit more human readable. So I will go ahead and use my dimension selector here to navigate to the tag key that they've all been populating this data in. And we've got our kind of cost allocation tag section down here. Let's go ahead and say that they've all been using the name cost allocation tag. And we'll use the is operator to collect all of our value patterns here. So let's say we've got somebody who is calling it prod. We've got somebody who's just calling it PRD. We've got a lowercase prod. We've got production with a capital P. We've got production with a lowercase p. And then we've got somebody who spelled it wrong and put 2 T's in there for a couple of their tags. So we'll go ahead and add all of those variants there. I can go ahead and look at all of them at the same time to make sure that I've collected everything. Key thing to note as well is we do have more operators than just is available there too. So if there is kind of a pattern that you're trying to match on the start or anything that it contains, you can use either of those operators as well to make sure that you're capturing kind of exactly the data that you want to be capturing. In this case, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I've got all my variants entered here. So now it is time to group them all together into one production to rule them all. And we will do the full word production with the capital P here. As soon as I create that rule, I've essentially kind of categorized everything that has those prod variants. I know in this case, I'm just looking to understand what's production and what's non-production. So if it doesn't have one of those tags, I'm going to assume that it's not a production value. So I can do that by opening up my uncategorized costs and naming everything that's left as non-production. And now that I've done that, we will go ahead and save. I've now kind of categorized into my 2 buckets. We'll click next here. In this case, I'm not going to configure a split charge because I'm just looking at kind of those two buckets of prod and non-prod. We'll go ahead and click next. And let's say, for example's sake, I have told them to start doing this tagging in July of 2024. So I'm only looking back far into July. We'll set that look back period to tell the system exactly how far back to propagate those rules that I've just configured. And now I can go ahead and click Create Cost Category. I see this green box at the top, this nice banner that says that it has been created successfully. So I am good to go. What is happening now is our system is kind of thinking and propagating those rules that I've just configured back through all of our downstream billing tools. If I come back tomorrow, between 12 and 24 hours from now, I'll be able to see exactly that split in my cost category configuration. And I can kind of see all of that data that I have propagated in my downstream tools as well. Cost Explorer, the cost and usage report. I can also use this cost categories data to configure a budget or a anomaly detection monitor. So lots of ways to kind of integrate this into my process now that I've cleaned up some of that tag noise and made everything just a little bit easier to look at. All right. If you have more questions about cost categories, or if there's a particular use case that you would like us to discuss or demo or proof out for you, please let us know at costoptimization@amazon.com. We are happy to kind of investigate a little bit and take those requests. And thank you so much for tuning in today.